coup, Biafra war, and what happened thereafter. Take a look.
Welcome to the program, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Now tell us about your growing up in Nigeria.
Well, as a young man, went to school in a village called Wusasa, a church missionary station, place called Wusasa in Zaria. And of course, went to school at the mission school, and then to government secondary school, federal government, northern government secondary school, now called Barewa. And then took my entrance examination for the military training, and then my training went for my training in Teshi, Ghana, and then from there to the United Kingdom for for further training, and then back to the headquarters. And at that time, when Nigerianizing the officer of the Nigerian army, and I was posted, appointed as adjutant general of the Nigerian army. Well, that is where the principal staff officer dealing with administration, discipline, and promotion, etc.
Under the colonial.
Yes, and then Ojukwu was, we were promoted the same time with Ojukwu.
Are you serious?
Ojukwu, he as a quartermaster general. Okay. And David Ejo led the governor, former governor of the Midwest. He was the GSO1. After that course, I came back, and then within 36 hours, 36 hours of my arrival, yes, a coup took place, and all my colleagues, that we came from the same school. Malari, Kuru Mohammed, Abogo Larigema, Yakubu Pam.
Every day, go to Tape to pray.
Were all killed. And not one senior officer at the time, a colleague of mine who was the same set, an officer. He too was killed. Arthur Onegbe, he too was killed. I was the last one standing. So that was how the military came into power.
Now, can you give us the events that led to your becoming the head of state at the age of 31?
After the first, that coup, and things were back to order. A lot of problems in the country, riots here and killings here. And Iransi was trying to get all the traditional rulers to have a meeting in Ibadan. The crisis got to the stage whereby Iransi was kidnapped, taken by some young officers, and even though instruction was given that they should, he must be kept safe, and moved to safety. That instruction was not obeyed by these young officers, and the next thing that I received report that he was killed, etc. And so for the next 2-3 days, there was nobody in charge.
Was a vacuum.
There was vacuum. And so it got to the time when even the civil servants, senior civil servants in Lagos, they want at least somebody to give the command. Unfortunately, the chief of staff, then Brigadier Ogundipe, Brigadier General Ogundipe, was not able, to to take control, because I think he had organized some soldiers, to go and either discipline, what was happening in Ikeja. And unfortunately, as a result of that, all other officers refused to take his command.
Okay.
So I had to go to Ikeja to try and sort out things. And when I went there, yes, true enough, they had to sort of accept my command. They said at that time they're not accepting any instruction from anyone else other than myself at that time. So, well, I was not honestly keen, and I remembered saying, well, if any of you junior ones want to do it, I want you can take it, but leave me. I want to sort of take charge of the army to restore the discipline, loyalty of the Nigerian army that I was in charge of as Adjutant General of the Nigerian Army. I offered it to even the junior ones. However, on second thought later on, I said, I can now see. But then, the diplomatic corps also, they want at least anybody who can be listened to.
Wow.
So that is when it came to me. Now, the young officers said, no, they would not like anybody else other than myself.
Wow.
Other than myself.
That was a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, so I said, well, look, it is not now. So when it got to the stage whereby, yes, if that is the case, if they've said that, I made known to the other senior officers that we were in government together at the time, and of course, they said, well, look, I think the best thing that we should do is to accept something that can ensure that with the military or the army is brought under control, and at least is loyal to whichever leadership that will come. So, that was, I think, at the time that I was being virtually asked, look, to take charge, take control, and I did. But when it became very clear to me that I was going to be the head of state, the fear that really came, on me, honestly, in fact, the fear that you have when you're about taking your school certificate, I don't know whether you remember.
What sustained you when you were in power, when you took over power after the vacuum?
Well, so in the end, what I had to do was that I asked, when it became abundantly clear that I cannot get away from it, I asked everybody to leave the room, and I went down on my knee and prayed to God that at least God knows that it is not my wish, my intention, that this should happen. But right the way through, He has seen me through. So I prayed to God to give me the courage, of David and the wisdom of Solomon, to be able to do the right thing for the country, for the people, and for our nation. And honestly, I must admit, after that prayer, I said, show me the way to do it.
You got your confidence.
My confidence returned. And I know that I cannot do it. I have not been in government. I know, yes, in the army, I know what to do. I can give various instructions. But what I needed now to do was to get the cooperation of other people outside even the army. And of course, since there are no politicians for me to discuss with or work with, at least there is the civil servants.
Okay.
The civil servants, in Nigeria, and of course, a lot of a number of them have been my permanent secretary, permanent secretary, Ministry of Defense. And of course, some of them we had worked with, at various conferences, meeting, for to discuss, the independence celebrations, at that time.
Wow.
And of course, so if I had to, depend on them. I said, well, how the government is done. You give advice to the government. So I'll rely on you, to help be able to, so that if we can work together in the interest, of the country.
You truly are a man of history. Now let's come to the Civil War. You led the Civil War. Can you tell us the lessons you learned after the war, so that the generations that has not encountered war will understand why it is necessary to maintain peace at all costs?
After the war, after the Civil War, I know what various people went through. Now, honestly, war is not something that you wanted to do. I was only forced to do it, but not to fight the people, the old people, the pregnant women, children, etc. No, I think it was, I gave instruction to the soldiers. There is an instruction how they are to behave, to look after, to protect the people, the older people, only those who take up arms against them. That was the thing. Now, when you hear the story that we killed 1 million or 2 million or 3 million people, no, not from the soldiers shooting people. It meant they have to go shoot the people right the way through. It is the people that became casualties were the people that Ojukwu and the Eastern government told to run away from these vandals, from these wicked people, from Gowon, the killer, etc. And of course, these people are running away, and as the area contracted because of our movement. And of course, I think most of people really died of either hunger, diseases, etc. Not really from the federal troops, shooting and killing people indiscriminately. It is only those who, took up arms, against. And at the end of the war, I said, and I prayed to God that Nigeria should never again go through experience, this sort of carnage.
So do you think the Igbos have been rehabilitated, reintegrated, and reconciled to Nigeria properly?
During the Civil War, a lot of the, or before the Civil War, a lot of the Igbo people had to leave, the country. But it is not the federal government that